Dear viewers, welcome to tonight's program. This is Willib in front of your screen, and again we're going to talk as we do every now and again, and the program is Let's Talk. Let's Talk is the broad subject, but today we're going to focus on something rather slim and small, and the program of today is going to be When All Hopes Are Against All Odds. I will repeat again, the title of the message today is When All Hopes Are Against All Odds. I will not delay. I will tell you this is a very, very sad but truthful story, an account that took place in Tanzania, and all the credit goes to the writer of this program, which I put it in English. I wanted to help you today for you to familiarize with the English words as I will be telling you this story. And as you familiarize, take note of how I punctuate when I'm talking and when I'm reading. But importantly, follow where I'm going with this. It is something that is going to build your life. Have you ever trusted somebody? Have you ever trusted somebody so much that when you get disappointed or when they let you down, you feel like the whole world is on your shoulder and is collapsing upon you? This is exactly what you're going to depict from the story that I am going to read to you.
In Matale village, in Mugumu Serengeti district, Mr. Wambule was falsely accused and sentenced to 3 years of prison. He left behind a wife and 4 school-aged children. He was so overwhelmingly troubled by the verdict. He wished whosoever believed he was guilty to dive into the innermost of his heart and learn the truth. He cried so often. Maybe if he had had money, he would have hired a lawyer to defend him. Because he couldn't afford a lawyer, he ended up in jail. He lived in jail with a troubled heart. He became miserable, unhealthy, and was often sick. In jail, he was fortunate to make friends with an undertaker. The undertaker's job was to organize burial for inmates whose families would not show up in time to collect the deceased inmates' bodies. The undertaker repeatedly urged him to accept that as a way of life, also adding that one day the truth would surface. Mr. Wambule was not persuaded by the undertaker's advice. He sobbed and suffered, however. "I can't endure 3 years of jail time," he said. "If you care for me in any way, help me evade the prison in whatever way." Mr. Wambule insisted that the undertaker help him. One day, the undertaker told Mr. Wambule the help was available, but he would need lots of guts and courage. "I am ready for anything as long as I can get out of here," he reluctantly replied while listening. "My only help for you out of here is by means of a coffin," he told him. "If an inmate dies, I will add you up into the coffin," he continued. "Upon hearing the death-announcing bell, come running into the room where the corpses are kept. You will find the coffin ready and unlocked. Once there, open the coffin and lie alongside the dead body. The coffin is large enough to contain 2 people. Later on, I will come and nail the coffin lid. Afterwards, we will load it into the trunk, and I, along with a number of inmates and guards, will head for the cemetery outside the prison for burial. After 20 or maybe 30 minutes, I will come to dig you out." You won't fail to breathe for that long, will you? Mr. Wambule was seriously troubled by this, but chose to go along with the idea provided he would not remain behind bars for 3 years. One day, he heard the bell ringing, and immediately he ran into the room, and there he found the coffin. Fear set in his heart, but he finally jumped off into the coffin. After a while, he heard someone coming in, and who then nailed the coffin locked. As it was customary, the coffin was loaded into the truck and brought to the graveyard outside prison and down into the tomb. After burial, the tomb was filled up with a mound of earth. Although his fear excruciatingly increased, Mr. Wambule tried his utmost to persevere. It was as though he had found the savior of his life. As promised, he waited 10, 20 minutes, and nothing happened. 30 minutes, nothing happened. The heat started to scorch him, but he said to himself, I will wait till he gets here. If I were to spend 3 years in prison, how could I fail 30 minutes herein? Since he had been in jail for a while, he wanted to know after all who died. When he saw the body first, it was scary since it was covered by the shroud. But now that there was no cover in the tomb, he decided to take a look. He opened his eyes wide enough as darkness prevailed. Oh my God! His eyes met with the Undertaker's face. The Undertaker had died and had been buried with all his promises to save Mr. Wambule. Mr. Wambule's hopes were against all odds. He suffocated and died.
Mr. Wambule here died, didn't he? You learned a truthful account, a story that took place in Tanzania. This is not a made-up account. This is not a made-up story. This is an English translated story from a Swahili account. And I did this specifically to help you understand that there is always a problem when you trust a person to the greater extent. My message to you this evening is, if you make it your aim to put your entire trust into human beings, you will always be disappointed. Matter of fact, not only is it a sin to wholly trust a human being, but also it's a danger. The Bible points it in Psalms 146 verse 3. Do not trust nobles, nor human beings, who cannot save your lives. Today they're in, tomorrow they're out. Do you know who you should trust solely? God. Why? Because he never disappoints people. He will never let you down. Mr. Wambule, had he trusted the other being other than human being, he probably would have made it. But unfortunately, all his hopes were against all odds, and he died. I hope you learned a lot from this. People are just people. I feel bad when I trust people. I always look at people like someone is trustworthy today and they're not trustworthy tomorrow. So do not linger on do trusting people. That was the first part. The second part is, I hope you understand the rhythm of how the reading should go. If you want to improve your reading skills, Follow that account, play it again and again, and you will understand how it goes. The punctuation, the livelihood, the technicalities behind it. I hope this thing touched your heart. My core message is for you to know who you should trust. God. This is where my program is gonna end, and I'm gonna call it tonight because more is to come. I'm bringing more in the future. Very soon you'll be getting a lot more videos that will make your life leap and your heart leap. Of what? Of joy, right? I want to say thank you to all dear viewers and dear listeners, whoever is watching this every now and again. I want to thank my special member who was asking the other day about my other video. I say you are a very good follower of this program. I like it very, very much. You touched my heart. I want to say hi to everybody in Burundi, the English Club of Chibitoke, Pedro, and all my friends, wherever you are. Stay tuned, keep cool and smiling.